Good afternoon. Welcome back to my kitchen, Cooking with Carol Diane. Today I'm going to show something that I haven't made in a long time, but it was one of my mother's favorite treats over the years. Above all other pies, cakes, cookies, whatever. If we were out and about, she'd always pick this. So I haven't made this in a very long time, but I'm going to today to take to some people, and I'd like to kind of show you how easy it is. So the first thing that you'll need to do is find you a pan that you like. Mine is this one. This one's just it's a cast aluminum ware, and I use it for everything. It's a heavy pan. If I'm doing my divinity or anything like that, I'll use this pan. You need to have your oven set at 400 degrees. And so we're gonna put the pan on here, and I'm going to find me a rubbery whisk this time, because if I use a regular whisk in here, if I'm doing it, you won't be able to hear very well on the video. I hope you can hear over the air conditioner. It's going to be another really scorcher day today, so I'm doing this in my oven 400 degrees quickly before the heat gets too bad in here. Okay, so what you're going to need is you're going to take 1 cup of sugar, put in here. To get all the ingredients. 1 cup of sugar, 3/4 of a cup of flour, some sea salt. Now the sea salt has to be very fine on the sea salt, and you need about, 3/4 of a teaspoon of sea salt. If you don't have the fine sea salt, take it and put it in any kind of a food processor, and it will chop it very fine for you. Take your whisk, and now you're just going to kind of incorporate that salt and flour and sugar together. And that's what you want in there. Now you're going to take 3 cups, just regular milk, and put that in the pan. This is a recipe that you need to stick with on the stove. You can't walk away from it. You really can't. Don't walk away from it. Oops. And what I need to do is I need to get this to a boiling state, but we do not want to scorch it, burning it on the bottom, but we do need it to boil. While that's getting ready to boil, I'm going to take 3 egg yolks. Let's see, I better grab another pan, just a minute. Thought I had everything sitting out, and I didn't. Anyway, we don't want the whites, we only want the yolks on this one. So there's 1. These are large eggs, by the way, that I'm using. If you have fresh laying hens of eggs, that's fine too. Making this video for my daughter-in-law up in Wyoming, so that she can make some of this, because she does have some fresh eggs every day. They get about 4 or 5 eggs every day, and that's great. I don't have that. Pick up my measuring cup and fill down here, because I'm done with all this item, and I can pretty much put it away. I always like to kind of clean up as I go. Keeps the kitchen nice. You want to kind of just blend these up with a fork, whisk, whatever you want to use. You're going to need some soft butter handy and some vanilla. Now I'm going to be using my Madagascar vanilla that I like. So I'm using that today. And I have a bowl sitting over here. But first we need this milk and sugar and flour mixture to come to a boil. And because milk is cold, it takes just a few minutes, not very long at all. I said this is a fun little treat that I remember that my mother enjoyed. And I think she only made it in front of me one time, but I'm putting my signature touch to this one. And I'm going to be taking this treat to some very nice people. So I wanted to come out today, really nice, and I think it will. I think it will. Anything that you cook in your kitchen is very rewarding in itself. It doesn't matter if you make little boo-boos, you know, it's learning about cooking. My gosh, when I first started out, when I first got married, and I was so young and so naive, and I didn't learn everything from my mother or my grandmothers. I really didn't. It was trial and error on a lot of things. Back in those days, we didn't have smartphones and laptops and iPads and everything sitting out on the counter. We had to look in a cookbook. And I have lots of cookbooks too, different variety of them. So the quick, easy methods now of doing things, gosh, really take the work out of wondering on a recipe. It really does. Okay, with my whisk, I can kind of feel that the mixture is getting a little thicker than when I first started. You can see it still looks like milk in here, and that's okay. That's what we want, that's okay. But I need this to get thick. I need it to get pudding thick. This is very similar to when I made my chocolate pie, only I'm not using Hershey's cocoa powder. I'm just making the homemade mixture here. I'm sure my sister out there who's watching probably has already guessed what I'm making, but that's okay. I don't care, that's okay. She's probably made 1,000 times this recipe, but I'm making it today. All right, now it's getting thicker, and that's what I want. And now I'm going to put in the egg mixture. Egg mixture. In here. And whisk that around. Again, we don't want it to scorch on the bottom. So you really need to whisk and make sure that this is not going to burn. And it won't if you keep your heat consistent. You noticed I turned it down just a hair, so it's about medium high right now. Now it's getting to the pudding stage. That's what I want. To the pudding stage. Just a hair more, not much. That's pretty good right there. You take it off of the burner, and now I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons, and there's about 2 tablespoons right here of soft butter. So I'm just going to add that in there. And then I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of vanilla, whatever vanilla you have. Like I said, in my house right now, I have the Madagascar, that I really like the flavor of it. And if you were using cold butter, just a stick of the cold butter, you whisk this around until you can't see that butter anymore. I'm still doing that, but my butter is soft, so it's going to go faster. Okay, so now we have the consistency of a nice butter. And what I have created right now is more of a vanilla custard. I could stop right here and just enjoy the nice vanilla custard. I also could put it in a pie, but I'm not done with this little recipe. So now I'm going to take, and because I want this to completely cool down and get out of this hot pan, I'm going to go ahead and put it in a bowl and stick it in the refrigerator. That's what I want to do next. I said mine is a heavy aluminum pan. Now that just looks like any vanilla pudding would, and that's what I want. So while this is cooling in the refrigerator comes the next step to this recipe. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back to my second stage of this recipe. Now we're going to make a little pastry, part of a pastry. And what you're going to need for that is, same pan I'm using, I just washed it off really nice, cleaned it in the sink and washed it, because I'm going to reuse this pan. I like this pan. It's an even heat everything on this pan. You're going to take a half a stick, which is one stick here, half a stick of butter. You're going to take 1 cup of water, a 1/4 of a teaspoon of the sea salt, and you're going to take 1 cup of flour, but you're not going to put that in until this butter melts and comes to a boil. And that won't take very long. Not very long at all. Have you guessed what it is just yet? Like I said, my older sister probably has. Already, she's probably sitting there grinning from ear to ear saying, yep, I know what she's making. I've made 1,000 of them. But again, I'm gonna put a little different spin on the end product of having a kind of my signature and what I like on them. So again, you just want to make sure that your butter is all melted and it's almost there in the water, and you want to bring that water to a boil. And that's what I'm doing right now. It's 89 degrees according to my wall thermometer over there. It's going to get into the 90s again today. I've already been outside once and traveling, and it wasn't hot then. You have to do everything here where I live either early in the morning or way later on in the evening, because it's just too dang hot. It really is. Too hot. I've got my little Daisy Mae dog. She's in her little bed, sound asleep. She loves being in the kitchen with me, and especially when the air conditioner's on, she likes to just sack out in her little bed. That's what she's doing. She's so quiet until when she's not. She might be a little barker, I don't know. She's only a year old, so we'll see. Trying real hard to train her on a couple of things, I am. Okay, it's almost starting to boil. I can see it on the bottom. But I want a good boil to this. Pretty good boil. It's almost there. Okay. And what I like to do is take it off, shut down the burner part of it, take it off of the burner, and now we're going to take this whole cup of flour and just put it right in. And now you want to stir it fast until you have consistency of a big ball. Big ball. So it's looking like this. I'm just kind of incorporating that flour and making it look like dough. That's what it's going to be. Oh. Now, we're going to let that sit. I'm going to turn on my timer for a good 5 minutes to just let that cool down. And I will be transferring that over into another bowl, again, just to get it out of the hotness of this pan into another bowl to have it cool down. But that's the process of the pastry. If you haven't guessed what I'm making so far, keep with me, stay tuned. Okay, I'm at the next step now that I have transferred the little dough that I made into just a bowl. and I've let it cool down for a good 5 minutes. Now we're gonna take 4 eggs, all of the egg, not just the yolk. We're gonna take 4 eggs and we're going to put them in one at a time in the bowl, and then we're going to mix this, and I'm just using my hand mixer because you want to get the egg all nice and mixed now into this batter, one at a time. It's going to look kind of strange at the beginning, but it won't here in a few minutes. So that's one. Sometimes my eggs want to work for me, and sometimes they don't. So these are large eggs. You can use whatever size you have in your refrigerator. Just using the large ones today. Just a couple of beatings, you know, until you get them all nice and put into the dough. But it is important that you do it one at a time. And now the 4th one. Okay. Got the eggs going. Have you guessed what it is yet? Have you guessed what it is yet? Just want to blend it till all those eggs, you know, are blended in there. And they look good, but you don't want to overbeat. So it's going to look like this now. Now we're going to take a cookie sheet that's lined in parchment paper, and we're going to drop this mixture by the spoonful onto the cookie sheet. Now, if you haven't guessed by now, I'm making cream puffs. Yeah, homemade cream puffs. That's what I'm making. Homemade cream puffs. And I've already made some, the first batch, because I said I'm taking these someplace today. And so I'm going to show you what these are going to look like after I get them out of the oven. You want your oven at 400 degrees for these little cream puffs. You can make them, you know, little or large, whichever you want, but a good tablespoon in your silverware drawer, and that's what this is, will bring them out, which is fine. Heaping full, little, however you want to put them on is going to be fine. Mine did cook for exactly 40 minutes in the oven, and now I will show you, I'll pop these in real fast and show you the ones that I took out. These are my little cream puffs that I just took out of the oven just a little while ago. Now, these are ready for my mixture of what I just showed you of the pudding mix, the vanilla custard. But I'm going one step farther with my custard. I'm making a Bavarian cream, and I have to let that pudding mixture cool completely down before I add other things to it to make the Bavarian cream. And once I do, then I've already split these. They're ready for the cream to go in. And then, like I said, I'm going to be adding something later to mine after I get this done. But these are what it's going to look like in 40 minutes. This is what they're going to pop up, and look like of a cream puff. So I'll catch you as soon as those come out of the oven, and I'm sure that my Bavarian cream is cool enough to put in the center of these, and I'll be right back. I'm back to show you another step of what we're going to do to get the vanilla custard pudding part into Bavarian cream. And all you're going to need for that is a half a cup of heavy whipping cream. Pour that into a bowl. I like to make sure I get all of it. And then again, with just a mixer, you want to start mixing this until you get soft peaks that are going to form. They're going to look like little mountains. I took my, they were finished. They're still hot and cooling down, but these are the other cream puffs now that I just got out of the oven. They're going to need time to completely cool down before I slice them into, in the middle there, to be filled. It's a process, but everything is. Everything takes time when you want something to come out really nice, and this will. So my mixture has been cooling in the refrigerator here, and we're going to add this heavy whipping cream into this as soon as it gets to the soft peaks. It doesn't take very long at all. You don't want to mix it in, you want to fold it in. And then I like to put mine back in the refrigerator and let that get cold some more before I'll ever put it inside the cream puff. Almost there. Almost there. Like I said, this was a tried and true of a recipe of a treat that my mother would just, above all other treats, she'd ask for a cream puff. Whether it was in a restaurant at that time or we were stopped at some bakery, whatever, if she saw a cream puff, she would get that. I told my little story of, can't remember which video I made, but I told that story of the accident that happened with the gal up on 9 Mile, and my mother was sitting there eating the cream puff when I got back, but that's what she was doing, eating the cream puff. Okay, so here's the mixture now, and here's just the nice soft peaks. Now we're going to put it in the vanilla custard. All of that in there. And then, like I said, you just kind of want to fold it in into the custard, just so that you get it all in there and make it come out nice. And then once it's all incorporated in there, then like I said, I'm going to put this bowl back into the refrigerator and get it just a little bit more set in here before I add it to the cream puffs. So I'll stop my video now to show you that part of waiting just a few more minutes. But when I come back, I'm going to start filling the first batch that I did of the cream puffs and show you how to finish this recipe. So I'll be right back. Okay, we're finishing up on the cream puffs. So the first set that I did, I have the Bavarian cream mixture now. And what I'm going to do is just take a cream puff, take the top off of it, and I'm going to add a good helping of this nice Bavarian cream. Nice. You kind of want it to stick out a little bit on the sides. And then we'll put the top back on it. So see, you can kind of see. Oh, that is delicious. That is so good. And then traditionally on a cream puff, your final step would be to take some powdered sugar, and you're just going to dust it powdered sugar. And that looks real festive, doesn't it? Put it on a nice, pretty plate here. A little bit too much on that one. And that would be the nice cream puff, wouldn't it? But what I'm going to do next is, on mine, I have a little warming plate right here. And what I did was I took some Hershey's chocolate bits, which are just the package of Hershey's chocolate. I don't need all of them. I just want a few in there. And I heated up the chocolate, added just a little bit of milk. You can add the heavy cream if you want it. You can. And so if I was to take the next cream puff and add my filling, add my nice Bavarian cream in there, and then I go ahead and put the top back on. Put that top back on. Then I would take this of my Hershey's chocolate and I would drizzle that on top. This is going to give it a taste of like an eclair. Remember having those? Oh my gosh, they were so good. I don't like store-bought eclairs. If I can get one from a bakery, that's great. And then the final touch is you take Marciano cherries, and I've got some with the stems on them right here. And then I would just take one of these and place that on top. And that's going to be my little treat of having both different ones, whether I choose to go just with the powdered sugar or if I do with the chocolate on there. Either way, these are going to be very, very good, because I'm telling you, this right here, you could just make a nice dessert with that all on its own. But any cream puff has a taste all its own, and you could sit here and just eat the pastry of just the tops or bottoms. It's a wonderful taste, it really is. So this is from my kitchen to yours. Go try making a cream puff in your kitchen today. Don't be afraid of it at all. You can see it was pretty easy. You just have to wait a couple of steps on things to cool down. But other than that, you know, you're going to have a nice dessert to take to somebody. Maybe you have a function coming up that you thought, I want something different and special. A cream puff is the way to go. So I hope you're having a glorious afternoon. I know I am, and I'll see you next time on Cooking with Carol Diane. Bye-bye now.